Good morning. You're watching TVRI World's breaking news on Rimpac Exercise 2022. I'm Narendra Pawaka. Now let's begin the first report. Rimpac, or the Rim of Pacific exercise, is the world's largest joint maritime exercise participated by armed forces of Pacific Rim countries and beyond. 26 countries have joined the 28th edition of Rimpac. The biennial training event have started last June 29th around the Hawaiian Islands and Southern California region and will last until August 4th. Now let's have a look. Rimpac, the Rim of Pacific exercise, is the world's largest international maritime warfare exercise hosted and administered by the United States Navy's Indo-Pacific Command, headquartered at Pearl Harbor. It is in conjunction with the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and Hawaii National Guard forces under the control of the Governor of Hawaii. The U.S. invites military forces from the Pacific Rim and beyond to participate. With Rimpac, the United States Indo-Pacific Command seeks to enhance interoperability among Pacific Rim armed forces as a means of promoting stability in the region to the benefit of all participating nations. 2022 Rimpac is participated by 26 countries and have started since last June 29th, located around the Hawaii Islands and the South California region, and the event will conclude on August 4. This exercise is led by the U.S., involving 38 surface ships, 30 unmanned systems, 9 national land forces, 4 submarines, and about 170 aircrafts. As described by the U.S. Navy, the theme for 2022 Rimpac is Capable Adaptive Partners. During this exercise, about 25,000 personnel from the participating countries operate and utilize various capabilities to promote a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Series of Rimpac exercises include anti-subs and air defense exercises, missile, cannon counter-piracy, mine clearance, amphibious diving and salvage operations, rescue operations, and explosive weapon disposal operations. In addition, this year's edition of Rimpac also introduces space and cyber operations for all participating countries. The warship of the Republic of Indonesia, KRI Igusti Ngurah Rai 332, represents Indonesia's participation at Rimpac 2022, the world's largest maritime exercise in Hawaii, United States. The Maritime Security analysis stated that Indonesia has an important role in maintaining the Southeast area maritime security. The warship of the Republic of Indonesia, KRI Igusti Ngurah Rai 332, participated in this year's largest international naval war training, the Rimpac 2022. This Navy warship is part of the multilateral Rim of the Pacific Joint Training Task Force, LATMA Rimpac 2022, along with warships of other 25 countries participating in the exercise. The Indonesian military's solidity and durability has been put to test and has succeeded in various monumental achievements. In addition, the Indonesian military has also been participating in a number of other international military exercises. Indonesian Armed Force is also involved and participated within the UN World Peace Mission, represented by a squad of the Garuda troops sent to Lebanon as part of the World Peace Mission. This clearly shows that Indonesia plays an important and significant role in creating and establishing peace in the world, showing that capacity of the Indonesian Armed Forces is internationally recognized, especially in ASEAN region. The Indonesian Navy's 2022 Rimpac Delegation Task Force has made a commendable achievement by sending KRI Igusti Ngurah Rai 332 to the U.S. and deploying a special platoon for the 2022 Rimpac event. Indonesia continues to strive in increasing its military strength. Through the Joint Training Task Force for Multilateral Rim of the Pacific, or Satgas Latma Rimpac 2022, the Indonesian Navy also aims to promote Indonesian culture via a national reception event held at KRI Igusti Ngurah Rai 332. The activity, attended by the Commander of Fleet Command 2, Vice Admiral TSNB Huta Barat, managed to entertain delegates from other 25 countries participating in the 2022 LATMA Rimpac by presenting the task force band, Dayak dance, Kecak dance, Pencak Silat, as well as flash mob, Pocho Pocho dance, and Gamu Famire. In addition to its participation in the 2022 Rimpac exercise, the task force under the command of Marine Colonel Luis N. Nainggolan also carries a mission to promote Indonesian arts and culture. Visitors are also treated to typical and special culinary delights from various regions of the Indonesian archipelago. The involvement of the Navy in LATMA Rimpac is one of the programs between the Indonesian Navy and the U.S. in order to increase professionalism, strengthen cooperative relations, and externally increase the role of Navy's diplomacy. That is in accordance with the priorities set out by the Navy Chief of Staff, or Kasal, Admiral Yudo Margono. Six Asian members have sent military equipment and troops to train this month at largest naval exercises in the world, based off the coast of Hawaii. It comes just days after the 6th anniversary of an international court ruling that Beijing illegally claimed territory inside the Philippine waters of the South China Sea. And to know more on the implementation of Rimpac 2022, joining us now live from Honolulu, Hawaii, VOA reporter Jessica Stone. Hello, Jessica Stone. Good morning from Jakarta, Indonesia. How are you today in Hawaii,
Good
Honolulu?
afternoon. Yes, it's the afternoon here, late evening. I've got a swimming pool full of folks vacationing down below me here, so you may hear some children talking to their parents at the poolside, because of course Honolulu, Hawaii is, for most people, a place to visit, not a place to do these naval exercises. But we've had great weather for it, and as you'll see in the pictures that I'm about to show you, the men and women of the 26 nations militaries have really begun to click in terms of their relationships and their interoperability, which of course is the key focus here at Rimpac.
Looking great, Jessica Stone. Now, the first question would be, Jessica, what types of training are the Southeast Asian nations engaged in, Jessica?
Well, what you're looking at there is they are doing urban warfare training, and we had an opportunity to witness both the Tongans, the Australians, the Americans, and the Malaysians do this type of training. Because when they make an amphibious assault where they drop them in from the water, they do make entrance into a city in the event of that type of entrance to a community when they are being dropped in. And this is exactly what they encounter. So they have to be able to work together. They have to work out their differences in language and culture and in much more. They've also been doing naval search and rescue, live fire training. And we know that the Indonesians in particular sent a frigate, more than 100 troops, a full Marine platoon, as well as 3 control staff for the training. The Philippines actually also sent one of 2 brand new missile frigates to this exercise. And as you were discussing earlier, many of these nations have competing claims with China in the South China Sea. At least 3 of those participating do, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. And the Philippines naval commander said a few days ago that the purpose of these exercises is to push it back against any country who would go against or try to break international law, who does not follow it, essentially, in the maritime arena. And you'll recall that it was just last week that we saw the 6th anniversary of that international tribunal ruling giving Manila the right to its own EEZ, per se, its own exclusive economic zone, even when Beijing had counter claims in that region. And it basically said Beijing's claims to the territory inside the Philippine waters were against international law. So all of this put together is to say that we are seeing a heavy presence here of Southeast Asian nations. As you said earlier, 6 ASEAN members all working together here among the 26 nations overall.
That is good to know, Jessica. Now, in the last couple of months, we've seen increased engagement with the South Pacific Islands by both China and the U.S. What does that tell us in terms of the strategic competition between these nations when it comes to our region, Jessica?
Well, it tells us that it's expanding past Southeast Asia and now including the South Pacific Island nations. We're not just talking about Australia and New Zealand. We're, of course, talking about very tiny kingdoms like Tonga. And we saw the Tongans send 10% of their full military capacity to this exercise. They were involved. You're looking there at the Sri Lankans, but the Tongans were involved very closely with the Australians in this exercise. They actually came here along with the Australian Army and spent 2 weeks prior training just directly with the Australian Army so that they can really work closely hand in hand, again, working out those language, culture, and equipment differences. And all of this comes with a flurry of activity. We've seen Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in the region. We've seen Penny Wong, the Foreign Minister of Australia. We've seen Joseph Yun, the Special Envoy from the United States, Kurt Campbell, another top Asia official from the United States. And then just last week, we saw Vice President Kamala Harris actually make remarks at the Pacific Islands Forum. I have to tell you, as somebody who's covered the White House for more than a decade, you don't often hear of a U.S. official at that level addressing a body like that. So this shows a significant shift at the top in Washington, that they are ready to re-engage with the South Pacific Islands. They offered to put 2 new embassies in Kiribati and in Tonga. And so we really are seeing a re-engagement by the United States, and certainly an increased engagement by Australia in that region. And all of it comes right after China tried to sign many of these islands to a security pact. And we just saw within the last day or so a Pacific Islands official push back on the notion that they were just going to sign this document and not really understand its contents. Top Pentagon official I just spoke to said, that may well be because they're having more engagement by supporters. They feel more supported to take a stand like that.
Yes, so expanding and engagement is the word, Jessica. Now, lastly, there's been a lot of saber rattling by both Washington and Beijing when it comes to the island of Taiwan. What can you tell us about why Taiwan is not also present at this exercises, Jessica?
Well, it's certainly a question on top of mind of the Taiwanese reporters that I've been alongside with here. There are many Taiwanese media here covering Rimpac, but essentially Taiwan has never been invited before. It would be unprecedented for them to do so. The hopes were raised essentially when U.S. President Joe Biden signed a defense law that had language in it in which the Congress encouraged the Pentagon to invite Taiwan, but the administration has not done so. They actually believe it would be a violation of the One China policy that the U.S. and China agreed to years ago. But the former Pentagon official in Indo-Pacific affairs that I spoke to said, look, there's plenty of opportunities at an exercise like this for the U.S. military contingent to run through experimentation on approaches and various types of activity that would help them rebuff an invasion of Taiwan were that to take place. And at the same time, we are seeing this increased engagement diplomatically by the U.S. government. In fact, a top U.S. lawmaker, Nancy Pelosi, is now expected to visit Taipei next month. If she does that, she will be the first House Speaker in 25 years to do so. The last person was under the Clinton administration, and Beijing has already promised forceful measures if she goes through with it. So it's a cauldron of activity in the South South Pacific region.
Yes, it's a cauldron of activity, as you said, increased engagement in diplomacy. Thank you for your report, Jessica Stone in Hawaii, Honolulu. Have a great afternoon there in Hawaii, Jessica.
Appreciate it.
And that was Jessica Stone for VOA, reporting for Rimpac 2022 in Hawaii. This is the world's largest joint maritime exercise. And that wraps up today's editions of Breaking News. I am Narendra Pawaka. Let's comply with health protocols to keep our loved ones safe. Thank you for watching. Have a great morning today.